for NA West.
Yep, absolutely. There's going to be a nice split down. Usually when it's me and Monster casting, you can see nice splits down the whole map. Right now, it's a little bit more unorthodox. A diagonal split means that these hovered rotations on the whole map aren't really possible that much. You'll have people closer to their POIs. They have to make decisions quick before they land. What type of
Almost instantly and gets that knock. We have a chance for the block to be uncontested rather quickly if we see the other two eliminations come through. I would expect aggression now, especially already they have that player count advantage. And here we are, Wave and Jacob, literally only 8 shotgun shells, but it doesn't matter, finding his way up top. The lead in from the side does get a hit there, down to 141. Both players looking up from underneath. His duo, the other parts of the trio need to come on through here, try and help with this pinch.
Yep, we see this pattern every single game, actually. Blix is the person I was going to call out. These guys have kind of been on the top of this fight so far, but it seems like for the end of this, to defend the top spot, to break into the top 10 stops, he's kind of analyzed how they've been losing and is using his superior aim in close range to close the gap, get Verdi almost every single one of their trio on the opposition, finally winning one of the most important early games in the last 2 games.
He got the siphon off of that and is at 50 HP. It literally is the only reason he's still up right now. That's ridiculous. Down to the last second there. Like you said, you mentioned the aim, and he immediately hits the 72. Big headshot in there. Get that elimination. Ty Tanks, Thomas both doing well. Down here, the block now established as theirs.
Yep, I said I'm throwing out all expectations, because usually you see people play a lot more patiently, but that is the fastest we've seen this trio actually get out of these 5 games at the block. So it's going to be interesting to see how much freedom that gives them in the mid game as we move over to Vayne, who's actually making an early rotation in Fatal Fury towards Fork Knife.
The Fork Knife, indeed. Down here, Fatal, one of those drops. We saw Chap, Liquid, Vivid, Liquid Chap, and Lucky drop down here. Almost had a brain fart there. Trying to remember the power trio played very well. Bumboy here. 2 eliminations total for this trio. It's going to be an interesting situation here, rotating out. They do still have 1 player down in the field in there, but it looks like they're just going to hunker down. There we are, 40R Storm just hanging out over there. No reason to push out just yet if he's still concerned that there are players over here contesting the area. Little does he know they are rotating up and away. They can make their way up on top of the hill, maybe get line of sight on a bunch of different areas around and see if there are rotations coming through. Like you said, take the expectations, chuck them out the window. Players typically in these Game 5, Game 6, if you're in a good spot already on the leaderboard, I wouldn't play overly aggressive, but you have a chance now to push your way even higher, especially out here in NA West, where there are a lot of players that are just absolutely ridiculous. You see on your screen, is that 2 points accurate?
That's 2 points, and 12 is kind of the threshold to break in the top 20, so anything, as once again I've been saying, is possible. They might want to play a little bit more aggro, go for actual 40R Storm. Yeah, this is what I mean. You called to go for the mountain, but once again, you also said, Lupo.
He's by himself.
Yeah, you got to be able to push and get these aggressive elims. The stink being basically a heartbeat sensor looking for exactly where people are inside without using too many builds. 40R Storm now taking so many white ticks. He actually gets discovered by ramps. He's still scurrying around a little mouse in the fields.
At this point, it's kind of making them waste their time and some resources to try and find him. See if he can hit a shot. No shotgun in hand, and with these up-close battles, does find a contact there. Revolver, very powerful if you land those headshots. Can't follow through, and that's the 3rd point for this trio. They do clean up the rest of it. Like he's saying, you're going to see Game 5, Game 6, kind of all the expectations thrown out the window. Aggression might be the key if they want to try and make their way up the leaderboard.
Yep, you did say they cleaned up the fight, but we saw a pattern yesterday when there's so much action. Look at the mess they left behind on the builds. Everyone rotates through Fatal when they smell even a little bit of trouble near there. And with such a big expansion of builds, I'm curious to see if we come back. Fatal's on the edge of the zone, what goes on. But on the edge of the map right now, Aiden's pushing over in Snobby Shores.
Aiden Sean Psalm, very high in terms of skill here, finds the knock and elimination on Carp. The 10 points right now for this trio. Sean's knock there finished. 25 trios still in this match. We have 9, 8, 7 seconds until this circle begins to move. They're very close to the next line, though, so it's not too big of a deal. But right now, Aiden trying to find a feed through. The blue pump, a big 200 hit there, gets the knock, immediately backing out just to make sure he can connect back over with Psalm, because the fear of where Zedek is by himself right now, they want to make sure that they can pinch on that as soon as possible. The only player left on that trio. You have a chance, just like we saw moments ago in Fatal. Now that we have only one player left, you're outnumbering literally 3-1. There's no reason right now for them to not push and see if they can finish this off.
Yep.
Zedek all the way, look, all the way out on the edge. He's literally playing the cliff right now on the far right. Yeah, he is. He's sitting on the outside hoping that they do not find him. This is a game of cat and mouse I don't think I've seen before in competitive Fortnite. Zedek, good luck, my friend. If they do push up, I would expect him to drop that shield bubble and try and build his way up so he can challenge up close. Because right now, if they're above him, this is such a huge position. They have the top down, and he's exposed on the side of a hill to just spray down from above. But he drops the shield bubble. It's going to force them to come down, kind of jump into his play zone, or he can build up, play the edge of the shield back and forth, maybe trade some shotgun shots. But he might not even have to worry about it. We'll see here. Aiden, you know, his senses are tingling, man. He's trying to bob and weave. They're looking for him like crazy inside. And actually can't believe Zedek may have one of the highest IQ plays we've seen from NA West thus far, literally hiding on the edge of the map.
Surviving is just one half of it, though. How will he translate this to have a chance of even playing the game? He's going to have to get into someone's box later on. If these guys choose to stay as well, the only thing kind of separating his movement is time. How much time is he willing to invest in staying in the spot? He's kind of teetering on the edge of the map, but he's kind of lost in terms of where he is on the leaderboards. If he continues to stay in this position, not gaining any more builds or advancing his progress on information within the game.
It's tough now, too. Whether he knows it or not, one of the players in this trio have pushed down south past him, so when he, at some point, going to have to come up off the edge of the cliff there, he's going to be pushing literally in the middle of the trio.
Yep.
Aiden, Psalm, and Sean, obviously, at this point, going to have to start moving in. You see the zone there, even though they're on the 2 seconds until this closes.
Yep, Aiden, Sean, and Psalm all have to move in. Looks like they've had a little bit of miscommunication issues or playstyle issues in moving around in the later of the game. Maybe if they find this individual who's hiding out on the edge of the map, even if they don't, them now staying on the same page makes it seem like they've kind of got their stuff together, moving on in the end game. How important is it to stay as a trio in the later moments of the game?
Well, as soon as you start getting the points where the circle is going to close and you're constricting everybody together, if you're not stacked up, I mean, early game, yeah, a split is probably okay because you have, if you have a guaranteed drop, you can split drop and delegate who's landing where. But as you move later into the game, we've seen multiple instances where players will get separated. Sometimes it pays off. We had during the heats, I believe it was Seth from Europe, stayed up on top and was watching basically the zip line push up the hill. That paid off in a big way because he was able to manage literally 5 trios to force in different angles and have them stack up. Situation, I don't think you want to be too spread from each other. You run into a chance that you might get picked on the move if you don't have mobility that's spread between your inventory and what kind of playstyle you want to go for. And look, Zedek finally climbed his way back inside and is looting what is left. Found some bandages. Well done there, honestly. Maximo dropping in, looking for a shot to follow through. Last one is down, does find that one. Chicken is eliminated. We're looking at 2 eliminations thus far this game. This trio dropping in and applying pressure. Glyphon, the last one in there now. The shield bubble goes down. Maximo says, I don't want a third party. Glyphon is eliminated in there as well. Be a tough situation. Soon we have.
Yep, you actually mentioned something real on that survivability aspect. Your monitors were not broken there. That blue filter was just these guys in zone for that long. They sit on the edge of the circle. They on his own body. He's going to be healing up with 5 in the late game. Now we see Mazer Mongo. Looks like there's another box fight on the edge. The different perspective. Once again, the cost of the fight. How much do you want to invest early?
Like you said, half the shockwave's gone, but it did. Through on the edit, it's down to basically a 1v1. Finds Pieces, a 1v2, my apologies, but now it's a 1v1. Finds the white damage, no shield. Goes for the Siphon. Very high IQ play there. He has an opportunity to be more aggressive if he wants to, based on the fact that he knows he hit white damage. He hit HP damage. Maximo, right now, could push, could close this out on one of the highest ranked trios in West. We will see here in a second. Storm fighting again. You mentioned yourself, more passive play. We'll see here. The Storm is starting to move, my friend.
highest ranked trios, but where are their ranks in priorities on how they want to play the map? Look at how much time they invested on this. Yes, there's a launch pad. They're going to get help, though, and we've seen this with, you know, the real Booga on NA East. He launch padded in. He didn't have time. Stretch went down too. Clarity was gone. Obviously, Clarity, Stretch aren't here right now, but, you know, Major Mongrel's not making it in either at all.
You say that now, but here we go. The launch pad. We'll see if he can make it all the way in. He does have to climb through the rest of this. It's a long trek past Salty. Luckily, it's unoccupied. And if they grab the card, this is a reboot potential right here, which could prove to be pretty important. You pick that third player up, and one of the best trios we've seen. Like I said, I wish their names were correct, but that's a huge pickup right there. Very, very lucky that this was completely empty. Nobody stayed in here, and nobody boxed up in any of the houses. Which, I mean, this is more commonly, especially in competitive Fortnite, more commonly Salty is an initial.
And they actually have that on their minds. Mong opts off. This is a pattern we see when people all in off of the loot options they have towards a reboot. They'll carry 2 shotguns, not usually done because you'll have delay in your actual item slots. It's not a mistake most pros make when they move forward. It's pre-planned. Excellent there. Now they have a little bit of a chance to have a third person actually be a force in a fight. Hopefully, though, they just want to remat, not fight out in this mid game as they move forward. Look at all the trios on the minimap. What is everyone doing here? Why so much delay in getting in?
This rotation from basically the northeast side of the map. I will say they got relatively lucky because one of the trios ended up fighting a single player, Storm holding out on the outside. You did have another trio on the southeast side of that, but over here, Shifty Shafts, you have a team moving in, one still up, and Gotham had a big hit there. Not paying attention to what is on the left side. Pelican moves up, one of the 3 birds, I assume, gets that knock right there. Tyven on the outside does get beamed as well, which means the last player, you see him now, I believe, on a hoverboard based on the speed that they're moving, gonna have to rotate around. You can't push in and try and capitalize, try and pick up your teammates. These 3 birds took it, building a little nest right now.
Yeah, we saw Maximo and Shifty as well. Hatch Shield is still surviving too. Building a nest indeed. Will they be able to lay eggs and see what's up and get some fruition in the rest of their game off the spot they've claimed? Frat by now, 13 total HP, no heals to actually have. It's not going to be possible to aggress on a full team of 3 either. He's going to have to isolate, as Monster says over and over again. A trio, it's going to be impossible to do that though. Right now, there's a Mongo on the backside of a push.
A big knock there. I believe it was potentially a heavy snipe of feed in right there as a fake Booga gets knocked down the middle of that, and they're actually stacked up. Fake Mongrel goes down. It's just the 1 player left in that trio, and they are eliminated. A big hurt right there, taking advantage of a knock from literally another team. And here we are again, those trio third-party opportunities, the amount of pressure you can apply so quickly with that amount of firepower, especially, I mean, we often see them carrying miniguns. The tactical SMG rips builds apart, no matter the distance. That much pressure from a trio is almost unbeatable.
And this amount of pressure has knocked open the doors on the leaderboard as well. Indeed. These guys were so high up. I talk about ripple effects. At the same time, though, it's really simple. You have a top trio go down, opens up exponential opportunities for the people in the lead to push their lead, and people below them to get up as well. Every decision needs to be smart. Triggy, once again, I've only really seen people in the blue at the moment. Looks like all the trios
half the
are
game's
just
been played
out.
in the storm so far. Honestly, it just doesn't surprise me. Real quick, before we cut away, the loadout in that inventory was insane. Multiple campfires, launch pads, everything you could want. Meanwhile, Cease, Elevate, River Sun. Cease is out already, but River Sun and Elevate, we've seen more than strong enough. To carry their way to a victory rate from 100 Thieves. Sorry, my bad, Matt. Rich Homie Quinn in the feed, picking up an elimination. Elevate here, 178. Does have the 2 shockwaves. If he needs a get out of jail free card, he's got it, plus the launch pad. So he's not in a terrible spot, even though he's by himself. 4 splashes, the shotty. The kit is pretty good, but he is by himself now.
He was taking pressure from 3 different trios, from 3 different angles. Look at his HP. He's sitting so healthy. That was actually an amazing way to kind of disengage using his hard mats, confusing everyone as to exactly where he is. And it's against Wavy, Jacob, Thanks, and Thomas all the way from the block. These guys are hungry off of momentum that we saw early game. They finished that fight off so fast. They got to move across the map in record speed to get exactly where they are right now, though not really breaking too many records other than being in the storm for way too long. Triggy Vane is still trying to find Elims, not seeing exactly his HP total. Banks on the siphon, but it's not in arm's reach whatsoever. Vane Triggy going to be going back in to pick up his twin brother with names in different spots. He has shockwaves. His teammate had shockwaves too. He's going to be losing a bunch of his mobility in there. We have heals going on in the storm as well. It's going to be impossible to come back from this.
That's up on regulators. Sadly, the shockwave, a lot of sight. Pump shot right there. Easy clap, that's a free Elim. The 55 HP, so the Siphon put him back into at least a survivable range here. Gonna have to move in and build up just outside this little base. Make his way through here. A little bit of tunnel is gonna go a long way right now. Campfire to push himself the rest of the way up. Gonna pop a bandage. It doesn't necessarily need to. It's gonna increase the pace at which he gets that HP back. 7 points right now, 5 eliminations though. We're looking at 18 trios remaining, and I'd like to remind you real quick down there, did you see who we just cut to for just a moment?
Zedek?
That was Zedek, who was hiding on the outside of the map previously. Your boy is still in the game.
In the game, actually comfortable. Doesn't seem like he's taking pressure from anyone. Unlike all these trios are being seen taking all these fights in Storm, you can actually see the reflection of that on the player count and the placement almost always up at this time in these more aggressive lobbies. Everyone's now trying all these different types of strategies, which makes things like popping a campfire or stopping to actually heal very dangerous. What are some of the threats people have in playing normally when it's a smaller lobby?
It's tough to say depending on who you're in the lobby with and the position that you're in. If you're playing as a very stereotypical, like, you know, slow, strategic, even looking right here, Boo, Hellback Dog, J Rose is up here on top. This does not surprise me to see in a competitive Fortnite game. What would not surprise me now, based on what you said earlier, throw your expectations out the window. I did see a mech in there moments ago. That thing climbing this hill and pushing in on this build, because these guys are static up top. They have one of the best spots. They're still inside the safe zone. Why not get aggressive?
Exactly, but the thing is, getting aggressive might be the wrong thing to do, right? We're used to seeing these 50, 60, 70-man lobbies at this point that aren't here. You might have too little room to actually flex, too little protection, right? We saw Aqua, Chinkin, and Stompy. When they were up high and a lot of trios were rotating in, there was a big wall built in front of them. Over here, there's no chance of that now, right?
True.
You can't manipulate so many trios that are around you. You have to play more of an open game.
Garrett Kicks and Legend there from Synergy on your team. On your screen. They're one of the furthest rotations here in a second. We saw that 50-50 zone on the north side. Meanwhile, Epic Whale, symmetrical. Leno against Pelican ×3. A little bit of a build fight here. Leno trying to build up match elevation with the rest of his trio. You don't want to get too split here, especially when you have an entire team. Get inside, maybe aggressive trap, maybe just trying to get a trade. Anything like that can happen very, very quickly, especially when all 3 players are right there. If they're sitting on TAC SMGs, you got to be really, really careful. That being said, if he does have to get out, he had shockwaves. Plus, he's got that RPG if you really need to lay it down on multiple players simultaneously in the same box. Might as well go out with literally a bang if you have to. he had get out of jail free cards at that point, but you never know. Like you said, players on West, if we're only at 41, we're down to 41 already. That's significantly lower. By the way, Tanks goes down in the feed. So much more aggressive gameplay right now than I think we've seen from a lot of the other regions.
And you're absolutely right when saying that you want to play closer together, cool, calm, collected.
My gosh.
This is what you get to point out. When you stay low-key at the moment, this is what ends up happening. Symmetrical, getting that beam all the way from the bottom side of his box, not actually showing people that he's peeking over. 3 shockwaves available for him as well to move after the fact, but huge tracking available from him. Team shooting as well. When you're all looking vertically, it's so much easier to kind of pinpoint, hey, there's someone right in front of me. Everyone just slightly adjusts their aim. They all get that free beam.
That perfect beam, man. Yeah. Player paid the price almost instantly. Back to back to back to back hits. Meanwhile, J Rose's, Hellback Dog, and Boo right there have to make this rotation. The shield bubble, love that. They're picking up the crate. Maybe even a chance to repopulate shield bubble in the inventory. We'll see here in a second, depending on what's down there. But that's a solid move. You chuck it down, just dive on in real quick before anybody starts getting crazy, because you have 15 seconds till the west rotation has to happen, and you've got a hill in the way. Everybody's going to climb up, and this is actually very good. Boo already climbing right here, starting to gain elevation, because they know they're going to have to go uphill. You got to get ahead as fast as you can.
Yeah, Bubby actually going and trying to do one of the hardest actual investments in terms of mat count, a vertical expansion of his box. It does also get very weak at first when you're using it and moving with it. High ground, as you just saw over there, has such an easy way to kind of exploit you going up. You don't really have flexibility on moving either way with it either. So these guys are now set down on the mid ground there. They don't get to traverse the mountain like they wanted to. They have to possibly use a launch pad. Yep, a full one as well to move up. But look at the challenge they face. Yes, it's not there on the leaderboards. They are at second place. Cease is also down, so they have a chance to get up. They knock a bird out of the sky. Pelican goes down, 2 more to go. Lots of loot available as well, and a shield bubble, but zone is closing in fast. Bubby needs to get up only 450 mats, every single one a big investment. Counter to actually how the early game went. He's not hitting Storm too much. His teammates slightly ahead of him. He needs to catch up, get together. Lupo, as you said, when you're together, you can actually expand on the server so much easier.
You have an opportunity to basically create space whenever you want. If you're stacked together, you get that chance. If you're split, it's so difficult, but look at the very top of the map on the left side of your screen there. You have multiple trios vying for that ultimate high ground. It looks like they're playing a totally different game than everybody else at that point, because they're so far away from the rest of the teams. Epic Whale picking up a knock and elimination on Twonkies right there. You see in the feed. Bubby looking down from above. Here we go. Suppressive fire, the shots to break builds, accidentally breaking his own teammates. But this position he's in right now, he has the top down on players that are rotating, so he can start lighting people up, make the comms, those quick marks on people, and you have the other two that are down below. This is delegation of duties to a T, because right now they're basically shifting along the way, moving with what's happening. You have builds underneath. He's in the spot. There you go. Big hit on Garrett. He's going to get that call to the others. If they see more from that team, go for those shots because they outnumber at this point.
Yep, it's a different delegation on roles in their world, and there's 3 separate worlds as we see high ground collide with mid on this level, getting dropped down. 3 separate worlds as well on the actual leaderboard. We have people all the way at the top fighting for the big prize money, people at the bottom trying to get up for those crash prizes. Bubby now looks like he's left with his whole trio alive. Once again, a repeat of last game. Synergy Kicks goes down. It's all him breaking through, making sure he can get full use like Season Elevate do of the actual mats and the loot, but it's all him now. He's the one pioneering this game style in the 5th game of NA West. It's almost over. A 3v3, a usual type of breakdown we don't see at the end of the game. Pelican finally going down. 2 trios left. Who gets that final slack of elims? Bubby goes down. We have Held Back Dog on the top. J Rose is on the bottom side. It's a nice pinch in. Tristan Hip cannot hold the ground as long as he wanted to. J Rose is supporting while Held Back Dog gets that elim. A huge game 5 victory, only furthering their spot on the leaderboard. Sundown, how does this look for the overall game 6 closing of NA West?
Well,